The plot of The Bone Temple picks up right where the previous film left off. Spike, taken in by the false prophet Jimmy, becomes a member of his gang which tortures and kills people in the name of Satan. Meanwhile, Dr. Ian Kelson, who has built a temple out of bones in memory of a fallen civilization, is searching for a way to defeat the virus that wiped out humanity while suppressing the rage of a giant infected known as Alpha with morphine. Greatness is often clearer from a distance, but that principle works in reverse as well. What's presented as a revelation or a major event frequently turns out to be little more than a fluke or carefully orchestrated hype that can't be sustained forever. Sooner or later, that artificially generated wave of excitement fades, and it's time to reap what was sown, or gather the bones, as in the case of 28 Years Later. The landmark first film in the series, 28 Days Later, was released in 2002, and its sequel, 28 Weeks Later, was simpler but still achieved cult status. Fans had to wait 17 years for 28 Years Later, and everything about it seemed promising. The same director-writer duo of Danny Boyle and Alex Garland, an intriguing cast, and plans for a trilogy that signaled the creator's confidence in the material. Early reviews from critics and audiences hinted at a masterpiece, and the box office exceeded expectations. It was a hit. But on closer inspection, things turned out to be far less rosy. It was The Bone Temple that ended up paying the price for the unmet expectations surrounding 28 Years Later. In many ways, it surpasses its predecessor, yet it failed to win over an audience whose optimism had already been shaken. The film's box office returns were not enough to recoup its budget. On the one hand, that makes sense. On the other, it's disappointing, because there are arguably fewer questions to raise about director Nia DaCosta than about Danny Boyle. It's hard to compare the two installments of 28 Years Later. They unfold in the same world and tell a continuous story about the same characters, but they don't actually have that much in common. Instead of a slow, meditative parable, this film delivers a dynamic, jittery, almost deranged kaleidoscope of events that ultimately converge with confidence in the finale. Instead of classic old-school horror, we get eclectic narrative and stylistic choices. Jimmy and his followers, who resemble children's TV host Jimmy Savile, later exposed as a pedophile and serial abuser, Ralph Fiennes going to sleep to Duran Duran, symbolizing his memory and humanity, only to stage a post-apocalyptic theater of the absurd set to Iron Maiden in the finale. This all feels like a fever dream. Yet within the context of The Bone Temple, it works surprisingly well. The fragmentation works. The scattered focus points work. The strange blend of eccentricity and surrealism works. It's odd, it's unsettling, and most importantly, it's genuinely fascinating. The Bone Temple is one of those rare films that's compelling precisely because you have no idea where the story will turn next or where it will ultimately lead. There's plenty to watch and plenty to unpack. Thanks to a stellar cast, many scenes turn into memorable mini-performances. Fiennes and Jack O'Connell as Jimmy completely command attention whenever they're on screen, and their first encounter is the kind of scene you want to rewatch the moment it ends. 28 Years Later expanded the universe established by the first two films, but ultimately didn't add anything fundamentally new. The Bone Temple, on the other hand, feels like opening a window in sub-zero weather, unexpected, bracing, and invigorating. It's a film that not everyone will appreciate because of its unconventional nature, but it's exactly what this franchise needed. After all, to create something new, sometimes you have to shake everything up first.